But what's very unique and disturbing about American slavery is starting in the 19th century, the idea began to develop that slavery is actually a positive good. Slavery is good, not only for the master, it's good for the slave. It's to his benefit. Who came up with that? If you begin to look at it closely, you realize that that was an intellectual invention of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is the inventor of the idea of slavery as a positive good. Nowhere else in the world. There were slaves in ancient China and India and Greece and Rome, but most people defended slavery. Aristotle defends slavery as a function of necessity. Aristotle says there are some conditions in which you take people as captives in war, or there's dirty work to be done and there's got to be room for some people to do contemplation. So this is a regrettable necessity. But in the American South, you begin to have this idea of slavery as a positive good, an invention of the Democratic Party. Now you might say, wait a minute, this was an invention of the South. The South was the society that protected slavery. But then you have to explain why the Northern Democrats, led by Stephen Douglas, also protected slavery. And you have to explain why in the South, most people didn't own slaves, and 3/4 of people who fought on the Confederate side of the Civil War didn't own a single slave. They clearly weren't fighting for slavery. They might have been fighting for something else, but it wasn't that. So right away, the intellectual plot, you might say, thickens. And I put this out recently. We put out a trailer for a movie, and I put it out on social media, and people go, well, Dinesh, we all know this ancient history. Don't keep repeating the antebellum sins of the Democratic Party. And I said, well, all right, but what about the postbellum sins of the Democratic Party? Let me specify. After the Civil War, a group of Democrats got together and decided, let's kill the man who did this. And they assassinated Lincoln. And then the Republicans passed the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, all of which were vigorously resisted by the Democratic Party. If I'm correct, with the 14th and the 15th Amendment, not a single Democrat, either in the House or the Senate, voted for either one of those amendments. And then the Democrats established the following institutions: segregation, Jim Crow, the Ku Klux Klan, lynching, arson, night riding, murder. These were all institutions of deliberate subjugation invented by a single political party and opposed by the rival party.